Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. Today we're going to be making my food storage meat and vegetable burritos. My kids really love these. You can do them with both beef or chicken. Since this is going to be a food storage recipe, we're going to be using all the ingredients from our food storage. And today we're going to be using canned turkey. But first we need to make some tortillas. A lot of people have asked me how I make my tortillas because I showed my wheat tortillas, but I have never shown my flour tortillas. And I like to make a lot of this and freeze it up because I take it for lunch, or the kids have it on the nights I don't feel like cooking. You can choose whatever vegetable you like, so have fun with it. First thing we gotta do is we put 4 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of salt in a bowl. This is my homemade lard. We've taken a half a cup of that. Remember, you can split this recipe in half. It will probably make about 8 flour tortillas if you split it in half. I'm making 16. Now, your lard, you don't want it to be runny, soft, or melted. You just want it to be soft. I'll get the rest of that out with my fingers as I move through the process. So all you're going to do is you have a choice. You can use your fork and fork your shortening through. But that's not how I was taught here in Texas. The way I was taught in Texas, to use your hands. And you're just going to mix in your lard until it's all mixed in. Now that my hands are filthy, I gotta turn off the camera. Okay, let me give you a closer view of what I'm doing. I'm actually taking the chunks and smashing them in my fingers because I don't want to leave any lumps or balls, and this will flatten that lard out and allow it to spread much better through the flour. And I just do that until I've got no more lumps I can find. You see how it looks kind of mealy and it's starting to stick together? That's what you want to see. Now we're going to work in about a cup of warm water. We'll start with a half a cup. And you don't want to just pour it in. You want to dribble it in and add as you go, so you don't get any big clumps that you got to try to work out. And I always do 1/2 cup first on a double recipe. If you're doing a single recipe, then do a 1/4 cup first. Then I get my second batch ready. And I start mixing. You want to try to make sure none of it sticks up on the sides as you're going when you first start this process. Now I'm going to start adding in more water. The 1 cup of water is an estimate. So don't just throw it all in there and think that's what you need. Because depending on your humidity, the temperature of the flour, the temperature of the lard, there's a lot of variables that can make it a little less water or a little more water. See how it's starting to stick together? And I'm not kneading it because I don't want to overwork my dough. I think we're probably really close. I'm getting it off my fingers because that's really wet. And I've got a few little dry patches in here still. And I think we're almost there. Do you see that? Nice and smooth. A hair more. We're just shy of 1 cup. I could probably pour the rest of it in there and be fine, but I'm not going to. So now you want to work it into a ball. And at this point, if you find you can't work it into a ball, add a little more water. And you want to get all that flour and dough off the bottom. And I made dual batch. So now you want to cut it in half if you make a dual batch. You want to cut this into 4 sections. And then each one of these sections you're going to cut into 3. Once you've done that, you want to take and coat every piece with lard. A lot of people skip this step, so if you'd like to skip this step, go right ahead. I just happen to like the little additional lard that it gives it. And I'm just putting them in the bowl, because now we're going to let them sit for 15 minutes. They don't spring back. Then we're going to cover them with a towel and let them sit. And set our timer for 15 minutes. Almost forgot to show you how to make them. Now, remember, everybody makes them differently. This is how my friend who came from Mexico showed me how to make them. When it starts curling like that, it's because it's sticking. Because it won't stretch right if it's sticking. You always want to start from the center out, because that's where your dough is the thickest. You want to get them pretty thin. And then when they're brown, you flip them and then pop them off. I press the bubbles down. You don't want to burn them though, so try to keep your eye on them while you're working. See it sticking? Whoop. This is a little small ball. Once you start to get it out there, it's a whole lot easier. And then flip it, press it to pop those bubbles. Let it cook for just a minute or two, as you saw. I might as well get another one started. And that's all there is to it. Really simple. And done. So there you go. That's how you make a perfect tortilla. And we're just going to use them in our recipe and roll them. And I'm sure someone's going to ask, how many did I actually get? And I was able to get 24 out of a double recipe. Someone was asking me, how do I protect my camera while I'm in the kitchen? So I thought I'd show you. I actually do it like hospitals do, and I cover it with saran wrap. So let me show you. It'll take me a moment to focus. You see that? Anything I need to touch, I cover with saran wrap. And then when I'm done cooking in the kitchen, I can just take the saran wrap off and throw it away. And it keeps my brand new camera very pretty. So don't put your camera only for those that aren't in the kitchen, because a lot of us, 90% of what we do is in the kitchen. All right, I'm opening some milk. It's dated 1982. All right. That sure does look normal to me. Let me make some cream of question mark soup and tell you how it goes. All right, so we need our cream of mushroom soup, cream of question mark soup mix, and I'll put the link up in the corner or something, you know, up there somewhere or something. And I'm using the end of my can of my mushrooms. This is a kind of empty your cans recipe. And I need my mushrooms, and I'm going to use 1 cup of my cream of question mark soup. Because I'm making 2 batches, use a 1/2 cup and 1 cup of water for 1 batch, or 1 cup and 2 cups of water for 2 batches. And we're going to go ahead and mix that in, and I'll get it over the stove, heating up. So let's get started assembling our burritos, I guess you call it. And today I'm using end of can recipe. So I don't really need a measuring cup, but I'll use one. But that's the last thing I'm going to add there. We've got some garden peas here. So I'm just going to throw those in. Those are freeze dried. And then we have some bell peppers. That lid's got a hole in it. So I'm going to switch it with this lid. And I can throw that lid away. We've got some freeze-dried broccoli that I have to open still. Some cauliflower pearls. What's really nice about these, in the bottom of your can, there's crumbles. And I like to save the hunks and just add the crumbles from the nutrition. And I'll use the cauliflower in some other recipe. A little spinach. Shh, don't tell my family. If they only knew. Some asparagus. Surprisingly enough, the freeze-dried asparagus is really good in this. And so now I got to open. Broccoli happens to be the one vegetable that I can get my daughter to eat without sneaking it in. Now, you notice something? Freeze-dried has lots of stems in it. So use your dehydrated here. If you have it, I've got to redo some. That'll probably be one of the first things I dehydrate, because I'm out. I had to open my freeze-dried can. And then your cheese. I have here shredded Colby cheese, but you can use whatever freeze-dried cheese you want. Don't use your dehydrated cheese. It will not rehydrate in this. And I put in probably about 1.5 cups. And I think I have my sauce in the bottom there. I used half of my soup mix, and I had added mushrooms to that. And you mix it in. If it's a little dry, you can add some water because there's powdered milk in there. I'm just going to add a hair. Just wanted a little moisture than that. Those freeze-dried vegetables suck up that water really quick. All mixed up. Now I'll get my chicken. I'm going to use turkey today. Be right back. So let's put them together. You're going to take a flour tortilla and your little scoop that you've been using. Dump some in there. And you're not going to bend the ends in. You're just going to roll it up and shove it to the back. Some falls out. Don't worry about it. You're just going to put a scoop on, stretch it out, roll it up, shove it over. And you're going to do that with all of them. I'll have 2 pans here, so let me get moving. Okay, so we made, looks like 16 of those. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put our sauce over them that we made from our cream of soup. I actually made a beef-based cream of soup because we made it with a white base not too long ago. And you're just going to share it between the two. Just going to cover them. Whoops, I just broke that tortilla. That's okay, nobody will notice. It's going to be covered. And here we go. And I covered the pans in foil because it has been a long day. I got up about 5 o'clock this morning, and I'm still going. Sun's starting to go down, and it was a hard day at work. So, and excuse me, I'm eating flour tortillas. Once that's done, if you're scooping out of your bin, please make sure you get a clean scoop. Otherwise, it'll contaminate all your freeze-dried. And you put on as much cheese as your family likes. My family really likes cheese. Then what you're going to do is you're going to bake these covered for 15 minutes. That helps in the rehydrating of the vegetables. And then you're going to uncover it for 10 minutes at 350. Remember, freeze-dried cheese rehydrates to the same amount it was originally. Alright, so let me get these in the oven. I'll show you when they're done. And there we go, fresh out of the oven. Man, I wish we had smell-o-vision here. It smells so wonderful. I'm going to have one for dinner, so let me get a plate. And we'll just take this one here on the edge. Oh, there we go. Oh, I left half of my tortilla. I forgot to spray the foil, folks. So I will have to wait till they cool to get them out of the pan in one piece. Tortillas are wonderful. I don't think I steamed them long enough. My cheese didn't melt completely. Let's take a taste. Mmm. Hot. I just took it out. Very good. Mmm. I hope you make this. Let it cool. You can separate them into individual ones and put them in Ziplocs. You can serve a crowd inexpensively. Blessings.